All right, let's dive into something that sits at the very heart of democracy, the voting process. We're going to look at the G2 Containerized Voting System. It's an attempt to solve one of the biggest puzzles in any election. How can you make a system that is totally secure, completely transparent, but also protects every voter's anonymity? It's a tough balancing act.
To really get what the G2 system is trying to do, we first have to understand the fundamental challenge that every single voting system on the planet faces. It's something people in the field call the election security trilemma.
So, here it is, the big question. Can an election be secure, transparent, and anonymous all at the same time? Think about it. If you make it super transparent so everyone can see every vote, how do you keep it anonymous? And if you make it totally anonymous, how do you make sure it's secure and hasn't been tampered with? See the problem? These goals are constantly pulling in opposite directions. Nailing all three is the holy grail of election design.
So how does G2 even begin to tackle this massive puzzle? Well, it all starts with the voter, with you, and a really unique ballot design. Let's follow the journey of a single vote.
Okay, so here's the roadmap of the whole process. It kicks off with biometric verification, to make sure you are who you say you are, which then prints out your ballot. After you've made your choice, you go through this deliberate multi-step process of separating, scanning, and depositing different parts of your ballot. And the whole thing is recorded on camera. When you're done, you walk away with a physical receipt in your hand. Now, this ballot isn't just a single piece of paper. It's actually three things in one. First, you've got the candidate list. That's the part where you actually mark your vote. Then there's a unique QR code, which acts like a digital fingerprint for that specific ballot. And finally, you have the serial slip, which is your personal take-home receipt. The most important moment here is the cut, where you physically separate these three pieces. This is the first step in breaking the link between your identity and your vote.
Okay, so the ballot is now in three pieces. But how in the world does the system guarantee your vote is actually anonymous from the second it's cast? This is where some pretty clever mechanical engineering comes into play.
This image gives us a peek inside the secure vote container. And as you can see, it is not just a simple box, it's a machine designed specifically to physically shuffle the ballots. The whole point is to make it literally impossible to figure out which ballot came from which voter just based on the order they were put in.
So here's how that works. As each ballot slip is dropped in, something called a vertical shuffle feeder takes over. It randomly places the slip into one of 30 different slots in a grid. Think of it like a casino dealer shuffling a deck of cards. It completely randomizes the order right away. But the shuffling is just part one. The second layer of anonymity is all about timing. Instead of counting each ballot as it comes in, the machine waits. It waits until all 30 slots are full or until an hour has passed, and then it releases all of the shuffled ballots in one big batch for counting. This batching process makes it impossible to link a vote to the specific time a voter was at the polling station.
So the clever mechanics handle anonymity. But what about security and transparency? For that, the G2 system creates what you could call a Fort Knox of evidence.
The backbone of this security system isn't one, but four distinct video feeds. Each one is focused on a different, critical moment in the voting process. Together, they create a complete, synchronized video timeline for every single ballot that's cast.
And this is where it gets really interesting. Look at how these four video feeds are managed. You've got CCTV footage of voters coming and going, and that's held by the Election Verification Office. Then, a separate camera records you getting your serial slip. That footage goes to the Complaints Office. The QR code scan, that's recorded for the Recount Office. And finally, the actual deposit of your vote is live streamed for everyone to see, and it's managed by the Polling Office. 4 pieces of evidence, 4 separate custodians.
This dual storage model is absolutely crucial. On one hand, you have total transparency. The anonymous vote count is live streamed, anyone can watch it. But on the other hand, all the footage that could possibly link a voter to their ballot, the CCTV, the serial number, the QR code, all of that is stored securely offline. It creates this tamper-evident forensic trail that is only opened up if there's a serious official reason to do so.
Okay, so splitting up the evidence across 4 independent agencies sounds incredibly secure. But it does raise a question. If the audit trail is scattered like that, how can you ever actually use it to check the election's integrity?
The entire framework is built on this idea of decentralization. It's like they've taken the puzzle of your vote and given one piece to 4 different people. The verification office knows who voted, but not how they voted. The polling office has the how, but not the who. The other 2 offices hold the linking pieces. And here's the kicker. It is legally prohibited for them to just get together and share that data.
This separation is obviously fantastic for privacy, but it leads to the big, obvious question, right? If nobody can share the data, how on earth could you ever investigate a potential problem or, catch someone trying to cheat?
Well, there's a very specific, legally defined protocol for that. It all starts with a voter. If you think there's a problem, you file a formal complaint using the serial number from your receipt. That action triggers a public complaint file, and this is key. It gives a special, designated investigation office the legal authority to request all 4 pieces of siloed data. Only then can they bring the 4 video feeds together, synchronize them, and reconstruct the entire event to see what happened.
So now let's bring this all back home. How does all this complex tech and all these procedures actually empower you, the individual voter, and help build real trust in the system?
Remember that serial slip you walked away with? That little piece of paper is your personal key to the evidence vault. You can use a mobile app, punch in your serial number, and the system will confirm that all your voting events, from you walking in to the QR scan to the final vote deposit, were registered correctly. And it does all this without ever revealing how you voted. It's just a confirmation that the process worked for you.
And that really gets to the final, powerful idea behind the G2 system. By giving every single citizen a physical, auditable receipt, a real key in their hand, and the power to verify their own participation, does this model point the way to the future of democratic integrity? It's a really compelling question to think about. Thanks for joining this explainer.